Another issue that we discussed this past Monday was a dangerous dog registry in the city of Schenectady. This past June, a lady was walking her dog down Dean Street in the city of Schenectady, and two dogs jumped out a window and basically tore her dog apart. The dog lived for 6 days afterwards, but he finally couldn't make it, and it's really a tragedy. And Assemblyman Tedesco and myself are working on putting a bill together so when a dog is cited for being aggressive or being dangerous in the city of Schenectady, it will be on our website. So if somebody wants to walk their dog or take a walk themselves, not just a dog, it's to protect people also, not just animals, because dogs can attack people. So we'd like that identified, where there may be a certain area where there could be a dog that's been cited before. So if somebody wants to take their daily walk, as I do every day, or someone wants to walk their pet, as a lot of people do every day, they'll know there could be an area where they have to be very careful. No different than having a deer crossing sign or a dangerous curb sign on a highway. It's the same thing. It's just going to alert people that where they could have a problem, and they could either choose to be on their guard or they could choose to take another route. So that's what that's about. But this lady had quite a story to tell. She came to the city council meeting. She lives in Niskayuna, but she was walking in the city of Schenectady. And it's really important that I think we identify different areas in the city where there could be problems that come up.
I screamed for help. This was at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday. Passersby and neighbors thankfully tried to assist, but they were unable to. One neighbor banged on the door of the owner of the two dogs. No one answered, and by the time another neighbor was able to get the two dangerous dogs off my Templeton, the extensive damage had been done. Templeton was cared for by our vet for 6 days. His surgery included 100 stitches, 20 drains, and he had jaw damage, and he died on July 6th. I brought you two pictures that Mr. Riggi has. The first is a before picture, classic picture of a handsome, playful dog. The second picture is very graphic, and I kind of don't apologize for it. It doesn't even show the extent of all his injuries, but I feel you need to see the evidence of the brutal mauling that was inflicted on our much-loved family member. Following the attack, I discovered the two dogs who attacked Templeton had previous records. If I had known there were dangerous dogs on that block of Dean Street, I wouldn't have been there. I'm not the only person who's been impacted by this. Back in May of 2012, another dog was attacked on the same block. Dangerous dog alert is something that people should have the right to know what's going on in their city, how it can affect them. They can make their own choices about where they go and what they do. I don't think that property values will diminish because there are other registries like a sex offender registry that do not affect property values but ensure the safety of your citizen.
If I had known that there was a dog in the area that was vicious, I would not have put 3 little kids and my dog in the harm's way, and I would never have gone there, ever. And we would still have crypto.
Now, according to the website dogsbite.org, pit bulls killed 176 Americans between 2005 and 2013, accounting for 62% of the total recorded deaths. Rottweilers killed 33.
Tedesco is currently drafting legislation that would create a dangerous dog alert. It would require municipalities to notify residents via email, website, or social media when an owner of a dangerous dog has been convicted, and then share the block where the animal lives.
I think we owe it to the public in terms of public safety to let people know who want to exercise, who want to walk their animal, walk their dog, take a casual walk, where these violations, where these dangerous dogs exist.
The law might have saved crypto and also Templeton, who was killed by 2 pit bulls in June in Niskayuna. But most importantly, it protects people.
It's not only dogs attacking animals and dogs, it's dogs potentially attacking people.
I don't understand the vicious dog concept that's been floated by Assemblyman Tedesco. It seems to be geared more toward headlines as opposed to results. Every case that's adjudicated in New York State courts, there is a record created of that. So those records for vicious dogs already exist within the court system at the state level. The state could make that available on a website or on a searchable database that would get us what I think everybody wants, is to have that information out and accessible to the public. And even some of the proposals, I don't support just notifying people that there's a dog on a certain block. I believe people have to be held accountable for it, and the information exists that the individual owns the dog has been found to be vicious. That specific information is there, and that is what should be made available. So that, again, I don't know what the law department has done specifically in terms of the research, but the assets, the information, the ability to implement that exists at the state level, and I would hope, again, people move toward more of a results-oriented process than somebody who's just looking to generate headlines.
Schenectady should be a leader on this, and we shouldn't have to wait for state legislation to get information on the website to make Schenectady safer, because I think it's going to be just the opposite, that I heard that maybe it's going to bring property values down. I don't think so. I think it's incumbent on us to tell people if there's any problem areas, just like if there's a deer crossing sign on the road, people are aware of that, and that's the way it should be. So I don't think it's gonna, I really don't think that's a very good argument that it could bring down property values. Public safety is number one that we have to have, and with that, I really want to see us move forward and have something available for people when dogs have been sighted that have caused problems to other people, and not just their animals, to the person itself. Ms. Siegel's very lucky that she wasn't injured very badly in this altercation. So since we have irresponsible dog owners, I think it's incumbent on us to identify where these dog owners and their pets are, so people have a choice when they're walking their pet, whether they want to go this route or not. That's entirely up to them if they want to do that.
Schenectady.
That's where 2 killer dogs are on the loose because what some say is a loophole in the law.
Now we're told that these 2 dogs have a history of attacking both people and pets, most recently killing a small dog late last month. And now that dog's owner tells me she is appalled that these dangerous dogs are missing.
He was about 8 years old. He was a 24-pound terrier mix.
That's Rebecca Segal of Niskayuna talking about her beloved dog Templeton. She didn't want to be seen on camera, but tells me what happened to him on a quiet Monday afternoon in Schenectady.
He and I were walking in my neighborhood. 2 dogs jumped out of a window, according to the police report, attacked my dog.
And 6 days later, Templeton was dead. Those 2 other dogs said to be involved were found to have a violent past with at least 2 other alleged attacks. They were taken into custody by the city of Schenectady, held by animal control until they legally couldn't be held any longer. And after that, a choice. The dogs either could go home with their owner unmonitored or go to a veterinary clinic. And Segal says that's where they went, with the owner footing the bill until this week.
Other family members other than the owner went to go get the dogs, left with them, and they haven't been seen since.
Since the owner, by law, couldn't take the dogs back, family members are believed to have taken them instead, a bit of a loophole. And now those dogs are nowhere to be found.
Here's a case, totally unacceptable.
Assemblyman Jim Tedisco is already working on legislation that would require municipalities to issue dangerous dog alerts, sharing via internet when the owner of such a dangerous dog has been convicted.
At least 2 dangerous dogs that were quarantined should not be back on the streets, and give them back to the owner, who won't tell us where these dangerous dogs are right now.
I did reach out to city officials in Schenectady for comment on those 2 missing dogs. However, I've yet to hear back.
It's just incumbent on the city to protect our residents here, and I think that's another very important
Push
issue.
to protect people against dangerous dogs may have more bark than bite. Following an attack in Schenectady, Assemblyman Jim Tedisco wants to establish an online map to show where dangerous dogs are living, but some city leaders don't think that will address the problem. News 10 ABC's Marty Casper live outside the Capitol to explain why. Marty?
Well, the proposal that Assemblyman Tedesco plans to introduce here on a state level in January comes after a vicious dog attack leaves another dog dead in Niskayuna. And while he hopes to create an online registry to track what he calls dangerous dogs, Schenectady Mayor Gary McCarthy thinks that won't keep people safe.
Think of a dangerous dog. You might think of foaming at the mouth, loud barks,
But Vince Riggi thinks of bad owners.
That's what the problem is.
And he thinks a public online registry like what Assemblyman James Tedesco is proposing might help keep people safe.
So for them to get the message, this may be what it takes.
So Councilman Vince Riggi hopes Schenectady could take up Assemblyman James Tedesco's dangerous dog plan before the state does.
And I don't really see it as something that's hard to do. It can be done administratively.
Tedesco hopes that once a dog is convicted and deemed dangerous, its home would be placed on an online website for the public. Alerts would be issued by email, text, or social media sites to inform people where the dog is, and the owners would be required to notify the city if they move or the dog dies, so the system can be updated.
I think the public should have the opportunity to know whether they want to walk on that street, that block or not.
But Schenectady Mayor Gary McCarthy isn't as on board. He thinks it's a political ploy for attention and isn't a proven method to handle dangerous dogs.
No fundamental research in terms of actually doing something of substance.
Nor does he think it makes people safer.
It does nothing in terms of actually solving the problem.
But Tedesco and Riggi think it does.
I think it's a pretty simple thing, and I don't think anybody's talking about politics but the mayor.
Riggi says the idea came from a resident whose dog was killed this year when a sighted dangerous dog got out and attacked hers.
She said if I knew that there was an area where there's a dog that was cited for being aggressive, I would not have walked in that area.
Give more information, more transparency, and that's what this dangerous dog alert would be.
Now, while the city of Schenectady has no plans to make this a local ordinance, the mayor did say that he plans to add the location as well as a tax from this year to the city of Schenectady's website. Reporting live outside the Capitol, I'm Marty Casper for News 10 ABC.